And then I'm gonna also be real about y'all, with y'all about Jimmy Butler, and I think what his leadership is. His leadership is not that good either, especially with them young bulls. For what he did, in a post game interview, throwing the young boys under the bus, I know like that rubbed me the entire wrong way about him. And then Dwayne Wade just going with the flow, like he the young and upcoming player under Jimmy, who he think is a veteran or something like that. So he was following his lead, and Dwayne Wade supposed to know better than that. He a champion, 3-time champion, former NBA Finals MVP, former leading scorer at one point in his career, Hall of Fame player. He's supposed to tell him to cut that out. Don't do that. Don't throw them boys under the bus publicly. We're gonna do this in private. Not call him out in front of the media and all Chicago fans and all of that type of stuff to point the finger at them instead of looking at the veteran players, the star player, Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade. So point the finger at the young boys. I didn't like that at all. For two, you know, it's a group of fans in Chicago that in their efforts to pull Derrick Rose down, especially the Bulls fans that live on the north side or in the suburban areas like Olympia Fields and all of that, those people that don't like Derrick Rose, they will put Jimmy Butler on a pedestal in efforts to bring Derrick Rose down. Let me tell y'all something right now. Say what you want about Pooh, but before them injuries, D Rose was a franchise player. You want to know how I know? Because he had Keith Bogans starting alongside of him at the 2-guard position. Yes, Luol Deng was solid. Joakim Noah was solid. And they had some little role players. But Pooh led them to the best record in the league, 62 wins. So, and he won MVP. So he's a franchise player. Yes, y'all, Jimmy Butler has excellent defense. He's a high-volume scorer, especially on the team now. But for one, he will never win MVP. You know what I mean? So some people think Pooh shouldn't have won it, but in my opinion, with the roster that Pooh had, I'm speaking of Derrick Rose, you know what I'm saying, from the shop, we call him Pooh, but he had, with the roster that he had to get 62 wins and had the best overall record in the league that year, he should have been MVP over LeBron. And I'm a LeBron fan, super fan, you know, so I'm going to say that. And I'm not biased because I'm from the crib, Chicago, and Derrick Rose from Chicago. It is what it is. Now, a lot of people were talking about, you know, they look at the stats. They say he's a two-way player. And we should have kept him. Like, we should have kept him. He put up numbers. But let's not forget, and I'm not comparing their games any type of way when I say this. I'm just going off the numbers game. And by right, Jimmy's team was way better than this person's team who I'm going to name. But Kevin Love, when he was with Minnesota. Now, Minnesota is way worse than what the Bulls ever were. Jimmy did a better job of at least getting the Bulls to the playoffs. But what it was that the Bulls still was not a good team last year or this year. And we got to the playoffs, but we were not a good team at all. So what Jimmy is a very good player on a bad team. So his stats are going to be nice. And I'm not trying to take away from the talent that Jimmy Butler is. Yes, he will perform well in Minnesota. He's going to play well over there with Tibbs, a coach he's familiar with, a system he's familiar with them young boys over there hooping. But what I'm saying is that Jimmy, people look at his numbers and say, oh, he's a superstar. No, he's a very good player on a bad team. So he put up great numbers. You know, we didn't get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, people saying it's a team effort. Yes, it's a team effort. You know, when they lost to the Boston Celtics. And yes, Rajon Rondo went down and he was playing well, facilitating the ball very, very well. But we lost 4 games in a row against Boston. Not the Golden State Warriors, but Boston. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like we should have won one of them games, man. At least, I ain't saying we could have won the series, but at least another game. Like, force them to go to 7 or something. Like, damn. Like, I mean, that's just how I felt. So, and we couldn't get that done. I understand he lost Rondo, but at the same time, he's supposed to make something shake. If he's a franchise player, he's supposed to make something shake. And he didn't. So, and I'm not trying to bring him down, I'm just telling y'all what it is, reality, how I view it. So, at that point, Jimmy, he's high value, he's very valuable. Let's go and see what we can get for him. Now, the Bulls could have got some more. They gave up something that they shouldn't give up, that 38 overall pick, and gave it to Golden State, making Golden State better. I don't understand that. But at the same time, they got some young guys. Again, as I mentioned in the last video, Jimmy 28, he's going to be nearing 30 in a couple of years. You got these young boys that are fresh. Well, people going to say Zach LaVine not fresh because of ACL injury. We shall see. But we got 21, 20, 22-year-old. Let's see what can happen with these guys and see if we can get some draft picks in the future. Yes, we're not going to be a good team. We're not going to be a good team. I'm going to admit that. But hey, at least we get a chance of getting a lottery pick and adding on to the roster. We're not folding. It's just trying to get better with youth. Because we're not going to get it in free agency. We're not going to get no primetime player in free agency. It's not going to happen. So you got to build through the draft like other teams have done. But we got to do a better job than these other teams like the Sixers. We got to do a better job at putting these pieces together. So let's see. I'm not a fan of Gar Forman or John Paxson, but let's see what they can do. Hoiberg is not the right coach in my opinion either. Should have got rid of him, but we're going to see what happens.